Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody around the world. My name is Graham Glass. I'm the founder of CYPHER Learning, located here in sunny California. And in today's webinar, I'm going to discuss gamification, which is a very fun topic. Lots of things to cover. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is a little bit of background on what gamification is. There are a lot of different kinds of gamification. And as it pertains to e-learning platforms, typically the idea is that as you're going through a course of reward that occurs when you do a certain thing. So in the old days, somebody might say, when you complete this course, you get a badge. And that would be the entire extent of gamification, which is okay. It's better than nothing, but it's not really particularly engaging. And then gradually different vendors would get a bit more adventurous and they might say, if you complete module 3, then maybe you get another badge. So it's very like badge oriented. And quite a few vendors, by the way, still do that. But then people started thinking about, well, what about points? And some kind of building up points to reach some kind of level. So then people started saying, okay, well, if you enroll in the course, you get 10 points. And if you finish a particular module, you get 20 points. You finish the course, you get 50 points. And then if you get enough points, then you get a certificate or another badge. And you can kind of see how it goes. People started getting more and more flexible kinds of games. Or you might have team games. Hey, I'm in the red team. Red team points get points for doing certain things. Blue team gets points for doing things. And then you kind of compete against each other. The last version I'll mention before I actually start demoing how cool gamification can actually be, people might say, well, I want a game within a course, and this game might be for participating in the course. And so you can get points and badges based on your participation, but you might have another game in the course which is based on just pure achievement, and you could have winners and losers in that particular game. So as you can tell, gamification has got more and more sophisticated as time went by. Now, at CYPHER Learning is quite interesting because we have obviously a focus on businesses, but we also have a pretty healthy K through 20 version of our platform. And internally, the gamification team was wondering, I wonder who's going to use it the most. Is it going to be, because we all thought it was going to be the kids. Like when you think kids, you think games. I've got 2 boys, so I kind of know what that's like. So we thought maybe K through 12 would adopt it the most, followed by universities. But then businesses are going to go, oh, there's all this kiddie stuff. We don't care about games. It's actually the total opposite. And now it makes sense to us. But businesses adopt gamification way more than universities, which adopt it way more than kids. And in fact, gamification has been one of the favorites of the corporate world because they want people to take courses. Sometimes those courses are not that interesting, let's be honest. So they want ways for people to really get engaged and enjoy the experience of taking a course. Now, our gamification system goes way beyond everything I've described so far, but I think it's been very interesting to us to note that companies really do value gamification a lot. And depending on the kind of gamification system, there are some really tremendous things that you can do. So that's just my little intro. So without further delay, I'm going to share my screen and I'm trying to zoom my screen out. Maybe that's probably about as big as it can get. So I've logged into our CYPHER platform. This is kind of the home dashboard, and this is what I'm going to be using in order to showcase gamification. And I thought, I could start by building a game by hand. That's kind of like the old-fashioned way. I'm going to start building a gamified course using AI just to show you how easy it can be. But then I am going to go down and show you how you can do this all by hand as well. So I'm going to kick off a course build so I can chat while it's building. So I'm going to say add a course on digital leadership. And I could pick anything. I could say, oh, I tell you what, here's a good one. Gamification of courses. Hey, why not? And I'm going to say, get assistance from CYPHER agent. So it's going to give me a helping hand in how I build this course. And now I'm not going to belabor this because we've got separate webinars on using our AI-powered course creation. But this is going to be audience professional. I'm going to make this casual style. In addition, include examples of points, levels, and badges. So I can give it the AI and give it specific instructions. Whoops. I'm going to output in English all at once, generation mode. I'm going to generate the tile images using AI, micro-learning format. I could build it on custom data, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to let it use public data. It's going to align with 20 skills. I could align this with third-party skills packages. I'm going to use AI cross-check. So all of the content that's generated will be checked by another AI. I'm going to include AI-generated images, no videos, and skip this. And here's the important part here. I'm going to gamify it. And maybe I'll put a quiz in. So, the emphasis of this webinar is not on AI, but it allows me to show you a bunch of stuff really quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and kick this off. And as I'm talking, what you're going to see in real time is the CYPHER agent doing its thing. So it's going to be figuring out the skills, building the overview, building the modules. And at the very, very end, you can see gamification. Now, while it's doing its thing, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the way that we architected gamification, because I think we are quite unique in this regard. So years and years and years ago, we got to the part where, hey, we want to add gamification, and we want it to be quite powerful gamification. We didn't even consider when you finish the course, you get a badge. That's like so boring. It wasn't going to engage anyone. So we started thinking about, okay, what are the different triggers of awarding points or awarding badges? And we said, well, maybe when you enroll a person in the course, you're going to get a few points. And maybe when you finish a module, you get a badge. And then maybe if you finish a quiz and you get a really good score, we're going to give you double points. And we want different levels, and they're all going to have points. But when you get to a level, we'd like to trigger an action there. Like maybe when you get to bronze level, we send you a personal video message that says, hey, you are doing great. Keep going. And we started thinking about more and more trigger points that would be really nice to award points and badges. Because, I used to be an instructional designer, so I've created like a bunch of different courses. And I always view taking a course as kind of an experience. It's like you're a script writer. And as you go through this course, you want certain things to pop that keep the person coming back for more. Like, I bet you I can get that extra badge. I bet you I can get that certificate. So what we realized is in order to put all those trigger points in to award points and badges, if we did that just for gamification, we'd be losing a lot of value. Because if we made this a general purpose automation system, then awarding points or awarding a badge is simply one kind of automation action. So what we did is instead of just cranking out gamification as a completely standalone feature, we said we are going to build a very flexible automation system in. And then the code for gamification is quite light. It's just little things that the automation system can do for you. So when I show you this in practice, you're going to get a feel for, not only can I award points when that happens, but I can trigger all kinds of other things. I could give someone an e-commerce coupon. I could automatically enroll them in a group. I could automatically send them a customized message. Like there's so much stuff that you can do once you have that automation layer. So that's what I'm going to show you very soon. Now, as you can see, the AI is cranking through this course building process. In case you're interested, by the way, we use a mix of premium AIs to do this. We don't rely on a single AI vendor. We use APIs that guarantee that none of the data is ever used for training purposes. And this architecture allows us to constantly pick the best AIs in the market without locking us into a particular vendor who might fall behind in the AI race. The other thing that I will mention just in passing, and that is we know that AI's making mistakes is one of the things that people are rightly very concerned about, which is why we use AI cross-check. So we use one premium AI to generate content. We use another premium AI to scrub the content. And if there are any issues, we will actually let the human know so the human can go and decide what they want to do about it. So we're getting pretty close. If I click on modules now, you can actually see what's happened. And we're getting very close to the game part. So don't worry, I haven't lost the plot. So this is the flow of the course. It's built out of 10 sections. 10 modules. Each module starts off with 3 sections of content, and then it's going to add a quiz. And I can flip here to see exactly what's going on here. So you can see the overall flow of the course. And we put a lot of time into making this quite fast. So generally speaking, we go parallel whenever we can. So as we're building out the section, we will have lots of tasks running in the background, all busily building all of this content in parallel, but then performing all of those cross-checks. So while we're waiting for a finish, I'm going to introduce you to the automation layer that the gamification system is being built on. So if I go into the course, maybe under admin, I can go into admin enrollment. And what you will see here, this is the configuration view of the course that I'm building. And then down here, you will see enrollment actions. So this is our automation layer. This says, when somebody enrolls, I want you to do the following things. So in this case, they'll automatically send the CAN message, which can be customized. But when you enroll someone, there is a lot of stuff you can do. You can lock and unlock various modules in your course to provide a form of adaptive learning. You can provide awards. So you can award someone with points and badges, which we're about to dig into much deeper in just a few minutes. Award certificate, give them an e-commerce coupon. This could be a 10% discount off a certain course if you sell training courses. You can fire up webhooks. If you're using message queues, you can send off a message queue in the enterprise. You can even add people to a group, enroll them in a course, remove them from a group, and a whole host of other more advanced features. So if you use tagging, you can say when somebody enrolls in the course, automatically tag them with a certain thing. And later on, if they do a certain thing, remove that tag or add another tag. It's a form of memory that passes on with the user. So you can imagine, for example, let's say, hey, when I enroll someone, I want to give them 10 points just to get started. Now, if I click on modules, I might go into a module. And under completion, this is another form of automation. This is what you should do when the user completes the module. And I can go in here and I can say, I'm going to give them 10 points. I'm going to award them a badge. And without going into all the, every single touch point, we have automation for lots of things. I went to the automation tab, enrolling, unenrolling, re-enrolling, completing a course. And then within each particular module, if I'd set it up, you would see, actually, I can go in here and say, edit mode. And there are, when you complete a particular course, when you complete a particular assignment, all of these things can have gamification hooks. So let's see where I am right now. It's using AI imagery, so it's taking a little bit longer. I kind of forgot that the AI images take slightly longer. That's my bad. So while we're doing that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and it's going to add its own game, but I'm going to add a manual game to this course. So I'm going to call it Graham's Game. And this one here is not going to be built using AI. So I'm going to show you how to build a game manually, and it's really easy. And one thing, if you're eagle-eyed, you might notice is that when you create a game, you can decide that people have a particular position in the game based on the number of points they've got. Or if you like the Duolingo style, we have periodic promotion-demotion games. And the way that those operate is to say the top 20% of a game is is going to be a certain level. And if you're in the top 20%, then you go up a level after, say, one day. And anyone who hasn't achieved that many points in the last day drops down. So that's a different kind of game where you're always adjusting up or down, and you can do that periodically. So I'm going to say build a game. It's going to be points. And for the levels, I can choose whatever I want for these levels. So I'm going to just call it bronze level. And to get to bronze level, you have to get 100 points. And then I'm going to have a silver level, which is 200 points, and a gold level, which is 300 points. So in this particular case, what I've done, I've set up the levels that can be achieved. And you'll notice that automation can actually trigger other actions when you get to certain levels. So for example, you might say, hey, when you get to silver level, I'm going to give you some kind of e-commerce coupon, a discount coupon. Or when you get to bronze level, I'm going to send you a customized notification. And inside of my editor, I can actually record a video message and say, hey, well done, you already got to the silver level. Most people don't make it this far. See if you can reach gold. So even hitting a level allows you to then trigger automation actions. The other thing I'm going to mention is that some people like leaderboards, some people don't. So you can always enable or disable them. You can show your learners where they are in the leaderboard. I think most people enjoy the competitive nature, so we always recommend exposing that. I don't think anyone's going to get bent out of shape by seeing their number 4 in the game. And you can also have teams. So if I support team games, now what I can do, I can say there's going to be a blue team and a green team. And then we show the leaderboards, and we show the green team has got this many points in aggregate, and the blue team has a certain number of other points in aggregate. So that's really good fun if you want kind of team-oriented games where different cohorts are competing against each other. So this is how you would set up your original game. And then what you do is you populate it with points. So for example, I can say when you enroll, I'm going to say add 20 points to Graham's game. Now, one question you might be asking is, why is it a drop down? Why isn't it just one game? And this is more about flexibility. So we decided we were going to allow you to have more than one game in the course. So as I mentioned earlier, you can have one game for participation, another game for, just raw ability, for example. But we also support games that are site-wide, and we support group games. So if you want to say, hey, there's a game that every single person in our organization plays, then you could arrange it so that you can get points towards that site-wide game from inside of all kinds of courses. Or maybe enrolling in a course gets you 20 points towards the active learner site-wide game. So you can really let your imagination go wild. There's a lot of different ways to do this. Typically, when you get points, it's always nice to have a pop-up. There are a lot of systems out there that when you get points, you get like an email, which is not really particularly engaging. It's much more fun if the person gets the points and then 2 seconds later it pops up something that says, congratulations, you just got 20 points in towards a certain game. You can also customize this message if you want to. So you can use the editor and create a custom message. And you can also use filters, which is a more advanced feature. So you can say, you can only get these points if you are living in the state of California. Slightly strange thing, but there's a lot of different requirements out there, believe us. So that's always nice to have in your hip pocket. So now you can see, hey, when you enroll, you are going to get 20 points into this game, and it's going to be alerted with a pop-up. And if I go to games and I click on Graham's game, oh, actually I have to click on the game itself, don't I? Oh yeah, here we go. Points. you get 20 points for enrolling. So even though these automation rules can be scattered throughout your course, when you go to the game, it's all exactly there. And the learners can see, here's how I get points. Here's how I get badges. So that's the way you basically set up a game. Now let's take a look at what the AI did when it was building its game. And then we're going to take this course and see what it's like. So if I go to this and I can see how long it took. So you can see now the whole course was built using AI. So it added the gamification there. And the game that it added is Game On, Mastering Gamification. So the AI does a really nice job of coming up with a cool name for a game. And the AI automatically came up with these names. And they're all time savers like Curious Challenger, Engagement Explorer, Design Dynamo. These are things that I'd have probably just gone bronze, silver, platinum. So AI tends to be quite creative when it comes up with these things. And then what it did, it set up default gamification actions. So what it did was say, when you get to level 1, it's going to automatically award you this custom badge, which it also came up with, the player. When you get to level 2, it's going to give you a quest completer badge. So it automatically set up the badges. It automatically tied them into achieving the levels. So that's what you see here under badges. And then it also started you off with awarding 100 points for each module that you complete throughout the course. But that's just what you get by default. You can, anything that the AI does, you can edit to your heart's content. You can add it, you can remove it, do whatever you want. So for example, if I go to enrollment, I'm gonna remove Graham's game. I just did that while we were waiting for the AI. I'm gonna say I'm gonna add 30 points to this. This is the one that the AI made. So I added that little thing here. And if I go into a module, this is the final course, you'll notice that it added a quiz to all of these systems as well, all of the modules. And I'm going to go in here and say, when you complete this individual section of a module, under completion, I am going to give you another, I'm going to trigger a level. So I'm going to add 90 points. You wouldn't normally do that. Here we go. 90 points. I'm feeling very generous today. So now that I built my course, I'm going to add a learner to the course. Lots of different ways to add it. So I'm going to use the people picker and I'm going to add Julie Andrews, the sound of music. Here we go. So I'm adding Julie to the course. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to log in as Julie and take the course. And let's just see how things go. So here is Julie. This is her beautiful profile page, very nicely customized there. And I'm going to log in as Julie here. And while I'm doing this, oh, she's Italian. Okay. I don't speak Italian, so I'm going to switch back to English. Thank you very much. We support 50 languages. So sometimes when we give demos, we switch into, Chinese or Korean or whatever. And while I'm at it, I'm just going to show off a little bit. This is the dashboard. So notice in this case, we've got the credit tracking widget. So people who get credits by taking courses, they can see the profile page here. We've got Julie's to-do list. She can see who's online. She can chat with people who's online. She can see her compliance. These are site-wide games that she's in. A lot of really useful information at a glance there. But what we want to do, Julie's going to go into the gamification of the course. So here we go. 10 modules. Notice the icon is indicating this is a gamified course. It's got a game. It's got 10 modules. So let's go in. So she's now in the course. This came out in Italian. Okay, hopefully the messages I get will be in English from now on, which will make things a lot easier. So notice here, I'm in the game. I've got no badges, no points. There's no one in the leaderboard. Obviously, there's only one person in the course, so I'm going to be number one, whatever I do. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to go into the first module here. So here's the first module, and I didn't put any condition onto this module. So I basically said in this section, once you have read the section, you have completed it. So at that point, the automation system would go, finish the section. What do? I award 90 points. So in this particular case, I just got awarded 90 points. And once again, you don't have to do pop-ups if you think they're going to be distracting, but people tend to really like it. And not only does it a nice graphic, which you can customize, by the way, but it also tells you why you got 90 points. This happened because you completed this section. Great. So I'm going to continue. There's another section here. All of this imagery was made by AI, which is really nice. So I'm going through here. Now I'm going to take a quiz. And fortunately, I don't think there's any threshold I have to do because I'm making a, let's see, which benefits are associated. Higher engagement is probably the main one. Leaderboard can, even if it motivates, I can see that being true. Earning experience points is game-based learning. I don't know the answer to that one, to be honest with you. What examples? This one, this one, this one. The experience points, I'm going to leave that one off as points. I wasn't thinking all this all the way through this demo, was I? I wasn't expecting to. I might skip the others and just get 0 on them. And levels. Okay, I'm just going to say continue, continue, because I don't think it's a requirement that I get a certain points in this quiz. End of quiz, finished. Okay, I probably did really badly. Oh, I only got 3 out of 15. That's not too bad. Now, the point though, what I really wanted to show you is as a result of completing the last section in this module, I thereby completed the module. And the AI set up the rule that when you complete the module, you get 100 points. So I got the points, but wait, there's more. I got a badge. And remember, the reason I got a badge is because I reached the first level. And the AI set it up so when I get to the first level, I get this badge. And I can click here to see all my badges. And now I have achieved level 1, Curious Challenger. And notice that all of this stuff looks beautiful. It's really fun to the learner. And I had to do almost nothing to gamify this particular course. So I won't belabor the point, but basically you would go through this course and every time you do pretty good, you can have more fun things happening. And it's not just points and badges with automation. I can have a pop-up video of me talking that I recorded directly in our editor to give them more encouragement. Or when I complete the course, we can give them a discount coupon to the follow-up course, which is maybe a more advanced version of this course. So hopefully this has given you a good idea here. Like you can build really fun courses with really flexible gamification really quickly. And if I go back to the beginning of this course, oh, here we go. I was looking at the wrong courses. Like, this is the one that I actually had active. And you'll notice that she is level 1. She's got 220 points. She's got 1 of 5 possible badges. And so far, she's number 1 on the leaderboard. And if I'm interested, I can always click on this. And this is the game view of the course, which shows them here are all the levels in the course, all the badges you can get, all the points you can get, and details about when each particular thing was achieved or in progress. So it's a really nice, kind of elegant view of everything that's happened in the course. Now I'm going to log out as Julie. And I'm going to go back to the course I was doing, gamification of a course. And in the instructor view, if I go to this particular area, if there was more people in the leaderboard, I could click a button and it will actually pop up a list of all the learners and all their points and things that they had achieved in the course, which is another really nice feature for the instructor. Now, before we wrap up all things gamification, I do want to reinforce that you can have not just games in courses, but for example, you can gamify a group. Now, you might be thinking, why would you ever do that? So here's a group, brand identity design. Groups are very powerful systems in CYPHER platform. So groups can have customizable dashboards. They can have news feeds. They can have members. They can have administrators. A lot of different functionality within groups. But one of the things that you can do is you can add games to a group. So if I go to features, I can gamify it. And then when I go into a game, I can create a game in a group, and I can award points and badges for participating in the group. So from the group's perspective, your main objective is to get people engaged, sharing information between themselves, having a good time. So you can create, for example, a group forum. Chat here. And when I go into here, I can configure this thing. And I can say, when you post to the forum, here are the actions. So I could say, go into here and say, I'm going to award 20 points when you post. And if somebody replies in the group, I can say, you get 5 points when you reply to a posting in a group. So you can gamify a group, thereby making that more interactive and engaging. You can also create site-wide games. So if you're an administrator, you can go under admin games, and you can create a game that is available to everyone in your organization or everyone into your entire site. And that's one of the fun things that you could do. Let's just say, for example, that you want to get people enrolling into courses, you want people completing courses. There's a whole bunch of actions that you want to kind of encourage within your platform. So what you can do here is you can go into admin automation, and you can see if you complete a course anywhere in the site. So this is kind of like site-wide automation, not just course-wide automation. And you can come in here and say, anytime you complete any course, I'm going to give you 20 points. And you can even have more than one site-wide game if you really want to. So now that I've put that in place, anyone completing a course at any point will get 20 points into the site-wide game. And then you can have levels and actions and, learner of the week kind of thing, to encourage people to use the platform. So I think I have covered a vast majority of gamification. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and invite my other colleagues to chime in if they think that I've missed anything particularly important. Caitlin and Mark, is there anything else that you'd like to add at this point?
I don't think so. I think you did a pretty thorough coverage. I hope people came away with some ideas. In our next pro tip session, we're going to be talking about learning engineering, learning experience engineering, and gamification plays a big part in that. We do have a question from
Yeah, there is a
Marlon.
question.
Yes. What do they get with points?
So what you get is you get points. No, just kidding. So as you gradually accumulate points, those themselves can trigger levels. And when you get into a level, you can trigger any kind of thing. So for example, if you've licensed some third-party award system. So some companies have a kind of award system or a swag system. That's not just unique to the learning platform. They have anything you do in the company, whether it's using your CRM or your Slack channel or whatever, all of these things allow people to purchase items. So what you could do is you could use our integration platform. So you can use webhooks, for example, and you could say, when you get to level 1, trigger a webhook that calls your enterprise swag system and let it know that, Jenny, for example, just got a certain number of points in the game. So we didn't really feel it was worthwhile ourselves building our own built-in swag system, because there are so many out there, and some of them are really comprehensive with like online shopping and integrations with 20 different kind of products. So what we do instead is we layer points on gamification, then we allow achieving levels to trigger automation actions, and then you can use webhooks to tap into whatever swag system your organization supports. So that's one obvious thing that you can do to actually award people. We do, though, have e-commerce coupons built into our system. So one of our claims to fame is we've probably got the most comprehensive e-commerce system of any learning platform. We have so many options, discount coupons, this bulk discounts, integration with like 10 plus payment gateways. And so one of the actions that you can put into our gamification system is when you get to a level, award an e-commerce discount coupon. So what some companies do that sell training is they will say, when you complete a course, we will give you a 20% off to, the next course in that system, thereby awarding someone with something more than just like a badge, but actually giving them money off a future purpose.
Yeah, I've also seen organizations that, have awarded a pizza party to the or department that completes all their compliance training on time, or any number of things. So just having the points and the ability to group them either by individuals or by departments or by groups gives organizations a lot of different opportunities to then reward training. Even just simple competition between managers. Which manager has the highest score of their people
Yeah.
is another way to inject some healthy competition.
Yeah, that is a great point, Caitlin. And also, our compliance system supports automation. So you can set up a compliance course and say, when you complete it, then do X as well. But yeah, I like what you're talking. I'm always a big fan of the pizza parties.
Yeah, who doesn't
I'd
like
actually
pizza?
probably have a coffee party if it was up to me.
True, fancy coffees. Marlon also asked about injecting games into courses.
Yeah.
Graham, I'll let you answer that. I do know, Marlon, that would sort of be like the function of the authoring tool, and I've definitely seen plenty of courses that have a game component to them.
Yeah. So if you're building the course in our system, because we've got a really nice content creation system with seamless support for skills and automation, you name it, then obviously you can use our built-in gamification system to gamify any existing course which doesn't have it. So you don't have, when you build a course, you don't have to decide at that point, do I gamify or not? You can come back later on and say, I'm going to add a game to the course, add award points and badges. You can also use CYPHER agents AI to use AI to add a game to an existing course. So as you could see, when I set up my game manually, I had to come up with the names of all the levels. I had to put in all the initial automation. It wasn't a big deal. It's like 10 or 15 minutes of work. But you can use CYPHER Agent, and at the sidebar, you can say add a game within a course, and it will just go ahead and look at the course, come up with the game levels, put in all the automation rules, come up with all the badges, and then you can go in and modify whatever it initially came up with. So lots of different ways to do that. If you're using a third-party authoring tool, then you would have to use its gamification system, not ours, because obviously that's an entirely different disjoint product.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
you,
and
you
there's
know, you can build a course in Articulate and pop it into our system, no problem at all. And you can say, once you complete the Articulate course, then you get 100 points. So that will work totally fine. But while you are playing the Articulate course, we don't have any insight to be able to trigger our automation system at small points within the Articulate, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's an important distinction between the gamification of learning in general, which is sort of earning points, earning badges as you develop learning, and making learning the actual learning activity itself as a game. I remember one cybersecurity course I had to take where it was like a space shooting game where you had to shoot down certain passwords that met the criteria and others that didn't. That
Yeah.
was learning that was made into a game. Then if I had earned another 100 points when I completed it, that would be sort of the gamification
Yeah.
of the learning in
And
general, the
we
broader
actually
sense.
do support that through use of LTI, just as an
Mhm.
aside.
Yeah,
So LTI is the industry standard for pluggable components that will plug into any learning platform that supports LTI.
yeah,
And there are thousands of tools out there, including games. So aside
yes,
from learning ourselves, it wouldn't make any sense for our engineering team to build a shoot 'em up game. But there are companies out there that specialize in that kind of stuff. So you would get their LTI tool
Yeah.
We have probably the best support for LTI of any learning platform. We actually have better support for LTI than even the academic only platforms. So, for example, we are an LTI provider, which means that if you create a course, that entire course automatically becomes an LTI tool that you can embed. I know I'm getting a little bit of a tangent there, but yeah, using LTI, you could plug in an LTI tool and then you could say when this LTI thing is completed, trigger 20 points.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, so Marlon, that I would definitely, if that's the kind of learning modules you're interested in, there are lots of providers that can work on that, and they'll play very nicely within CYPHER, and then said you can add other elements on top of that.
Now, one
Uh,
thing I will say, just for fun again, we're doing a lot with AI. Like what I showed you guys today with the course builder is just scratching the surface of what's available through AI in our system. And we have webinars on all the AI functionality. And I know, because I'm basically the CTO of the company, where we're going. It's entirely possible that sometime in 2026, AIs will actually be able to build you a complete game from scratch. And you could actually say, I want a shooting game with this, and it will literally build it for you. So it's not like our main focus in AI. We're really focused more on upskilling, reskilling, knowledge management, all that kind of stuff. But it would not surprise me if sometime in 2026 we could not actually generate what we describe directly using AI, which would be amazing.
yeah, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
Yes, and Graham, as Graham alluded to, we do have a number of CYPHER lives that Graham has done on our existing AI capabilities. To find those, you can go to the cypherlearning.com site and look for the CYPHER live homepage. All of our videos are hosted there. Our videos are also posted to our CYPHER Learning YouTube channel. There is a playlist for the CYPHER Lives. And again, CYPHER Lives are demonstrations of what's available in the product. And additionally, we have CYPHER Pro Tips, which are more sort of conceptual, philosophical thought leadership approach and ways of thinking. So I do encourage you to check out all of those recordings. Thank you to all of you who attended, and we will be sending, like I said, we'll post this recording along with it, and we'll send you a follow-up email with a link so you can share it with your colleagues. And thank you again to Graham for his nice overview of gamification.
Thank you, everybody. I hope that
Thank you.
was enjoyable for you.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.